Hello dear students, now we are at the same time of the year where we need to talk about something very important, that is revision. I know that you all have been working for the entire year, you have put in all that you have put in a lot of hard work, you have created a lot of notes, you have sat in the long classes, you made notes, you did tests, you did question bank, you did a lot of hard work. But that hard work has to convert into your ranks. And to do that, you need a good revision strategy. And that strategy is what I am going to help you today with my video. Now, every time whenever we are planning a revision, it has to start with some components. The first component of revision is landmarks. The landmark means there has to be some time after which you will think of revision. My suggestion is that, let's use DVT. We have an upcoming event called DVT in the first week of October, where the teachers will be revising for you. Let's use that as a landmark that, okay, this is where you will also start your revision. But some of you may not have finished your course. It's okay. You can start a little bit of revision at that time and little bit of, a major chunk of continuing, so let's divide your day into two parts. A part of your day will be given to revision and a part of your day will be given to completing your course, mop up your course. So you need to do both of them. And people who are finishing courses by DVT, attend DVT with a blank mind, with a blank notebook as well, and understand the concepts. The teachers will be revising things for you. After you revise with the teachers, you start your own revision. That will give you a pointer to what is more important. And you also get an idea that, okay, these are the things that teachers are stressing on. These are the things that I need to revise on. The second thing to think is that what to revise.
Okay, so now when we talk about revision, and the first question comes up is what to revise, right? And it has to be nothing else which can be more or given more priority than your self-made notes, right? Something that you've heard in the class, something that you've written down by yourself, and something that you have integrated in the class on how to approach things is what is there in your notes, and that is what you need when you want to revise, right? Now, the first thing is that I'm sure that you are already in the process of doing it, and some of you might have done it as well, is what is an anti-grade thorough reading of the notes, right? Now, once you're done with an anti-grade thorough reading of the notes, when you want to revise the notes again, how do you go about it is yet another question, right? Now, for that matter, I would suggest that you sort of do the retrograde approach, maybe, because when you sort of do the notes exactly in the same pattern, that what happens is you tend to read the same lines that you've done in the first time, and you sort of tend to miss out the same important lines that you could have missed in the first reading. So, once you're done with the anti-grade and thorough reading of the notes, then what you can do is start a retrograde revision. Now, what do I exactly mean when I say start a retrograde revision? See, close to the exams, which is what we're nearing now, we need to know what exactly to revise, right? And I'm sure you will agree with me that every time we do a revision, the time we take to do the subject has to keep on reducing. Yes? So suppose you took 5 days to do something in your first reading, you should now be going ahead with 3 days, and the subsequent reading should be 2 days, and the final reading should be 1 day for that subject, right? So which is going to happen when you exactly know A, what are the most high-yielding topics in the notes? B, what are the topics that you are weak in? And C, what are the topics that, sort of maybe you have added on something by listening to the grant test videos or the test and the discussion paper and so on. So now how to consolidate this? So what I would suggest is it's a good idea to pick up your class test or your TND paper, right? And for that matter, even your SWT paper and your grant test. So you take these 3 papers and you do an analysis, right? Which means look at the topics which have been covered in these papers, right? Especially your test and discussion and your subject-wise test papers. So whatever topics we've sort of covered there are the most high-yielding or the probable topics for this year exams. So you pick up that topic. So don't do the paper again, right? If you've done it before, you may not attempt the paper again. But what we want you to do is look at this topic which has been put in the paper And once you know what topic it is, go back to the notes and read that topic in a very thorough manner again. So instead of starting from the first page of the notes, from the first line, from the first paragraph, I would suggest go on to topics which have been covered in these tests first. That way you would be targeting what is very likely to be asked. B, you would be targeting things that have been previously asked. And C, you will sort of cover your weak zones as well, right? So use the test and discussion and the subject-wide test series paper to identify these topics which you should be doing first for your revision, right? So this is how you're going to reduce the time that you took out, for doing a subject in subsequent revisions. And in the next revision that you're going to do, I'm sure that these topics, some of you will become very confident with those topics, and some topics, yes, maybe you would need a rereading again, right? So you have to do a smart study with your notes, right? And first you cater to things which are most high yielding, and then you go to the other points in the notes. Now this is required to do a wholesome revision, right? Because I'm going to stress out in this again. If you revise in the same way in which you've done your first reading, you're actually rereading rather than revising. So what you tend to do is you read the same points and you miss out on the same points because you will just read what you've highlighted. So in order to ensure that you're not missing on other important things and you know what is to be done close to the exams, you could take a retrograde approach for your notes, right? Provided, I'm repeating, provided you've done one thorough reading with your notes. You cannot do a selective revision if you haven't gone through the course once. So selective revision comes close to the exams so that you keep reducing the time to take revisions, but at the same time you make your revisions very, very effective, right? So this is what I want you to do with your notes that you've made by yourself. And you keep reinforcing the same things again and again. And I'm sure once you do that, you're going to be very confident of at least the things which are very, very likely to be asked. And that's what we want. We want you to be thorough with what is most probable. Please do not keep adding things to your notes. That's the biggest blunder that you can do, right? So don't increase the volume. It is not necessary that volume is quality, right? And close to exams, we have to ensure that we are doing quality work, right? So this is not the time to increase the volume of what you already have. Have faith. What you already have is what you need, right? What you are adding is what you think you might be missing on, but may not be the most important thing. So don't increase the volume, stick to your core notes, right? Now, in case you have added something extra, I would always suggest, for that matter, you should use plain sheets. And you keep them separate from your core notes so that you understand that the core notes are the ones that the teacher has provided to you in the class itself, and they are of primary importance. Anything that you add beyond that, right? So if you put them in extra sheets, you know that this is the teacher's work for me, and this is what I have added on. So the priority should remain your core notes. Once you're thorough with them, then yes, okay, if you've added something, maybe you can start paying attention to it. So be very careful that you're not, I'm repeating, not increasing the volume. Improve your quality, right? So very, very important. Once you know when to start revision, we're trying to tell you what to start your revision with, right?
Now, after we have understood about the landmark, when to start revision, and first we need to finish the syllabus, then we revise. But we talked about that. We talked about the value of notes and the value of the notes that you have made yourself in revision, especially when you were sitting in the class making notes. All those things will come handy in revision. But there is something else that I want you to know. Revision has to be done in cycles. Most toppers, they will use 2 to 3 cycles. 3 cycles of revision is ideal, but most people are able to do 2, toppers are able to do 3 revisions. But how to plan that revision? I'll show you a formula that I follow for revision. Now please notice that the idea is about what time to allot for each subject. And there's nothing better to use than the real exam marks distribution. Let me show you the distribution. Now this is the marks distribution given by the National Board of Examinations for NEET PG. These are the number of questions that you get. You get in anatomy, biochemistry, physiology around 17, 16. And you have like pathology, 25 questions, obs and gynae, 30 questions, medicine and surgery, short subjects, everything put together, 90 questions. So all this is available on the official website as well. Now, If I was to plan revisions, I want an average number of days of revision to be 25. But in the first revision will be slightly longer, it will take 30 days. The next revision might take you 25, then 20, and you can make a plan like this. And so when we say average of 25-day revision cycle, but it would be a first revision of 30 days, then 25, then 20, 3 revisions are required. But how to allocate days? I'll take an example of obs and gynae. Now, suppose in obs and gynae, you can see in the chart yourself, the number of questions allocated is 30 and the total number of questions is 300. You want to plan your first revision cycle of 30 days. So my idea is number of days allotted should be 30 by 300 into 30. So that will give you an idea on number of days to allot for obs and gynae, and you can do it for each subject so that you don't overdo any subject. You are always giving proportional time as per requirement of the exam for your revision. That is the key thing. Another thing that I wanted to highlight here, which is of utmost value for you when you're revising, is that whenever you're doing your e-medicos DQB, please make sure that you're bookmarking your questions. You can bookmark your questions in the NAMS e-medicos app, as well as in the books. You can do the physical bookmarking as well. And now you have a interface like this. At the bottom of the app, you can see something called as bookmarks. When you click that, you can see the bookmarks of each subject that you have bookmarked. And you can even bookmark any videos or anything in the feed that you want to see in the app, and you can revise them very fast. That's a good idea. But I want you to know, what do I want you to bookmark? Please see, whenever you're doing a question and you are thinking of some reason for the answer, and you discover your answer is totally wrong, and even your thought process was totally wrong, these questions, they require marking, because you might think in the same wrong way later on also. Second thing to remember is, suppose I do a question right and my thinking process is right, don't bookmark them. You'll end up doing the same right thing again, because once you know how to think correctly, you do it again also. That is how we are all made up of. We repeat the same mistakes. So anything where you find that your thinking process was dramatically opposite to what is written in the explanation, they need to be bookmarked so that you can see the bookmarked questions in the end. But do not bookmark everything, because if you bookmark everything, then revision will take a lot of time. Only bookmark things that you really, really think that you need to revise. Second thing is, in revision, do not forget previous papers. In revision, we need to look at the respective exam previous papers. You need to schedule somehow, like on the app, see such courses on the app, where you will see in the e-medicos app, we have done the NEET PG paper discussions, JIPMER previous papers, and all these resources are available for you. Do go through them. And make sure that, before AIMS, like AIMS is on 17th of November, or in the third week of November, and the fourth week you have the PGI exam. So before AIMS, prioritize AIMS previous papers. Before PGI, prioritize PGI previous papers. Before JIPMER, prioritize previous JIPMER papers. And don't go beyond 3 years. There's no need. Go and target last 3 years papers at the most. And in NEET, look at only the 2018 and the 19 paper, because 2017 was in a different pattern altogether. But do not forget, in the revision, it is a good idea to look at them, just in case they repeat something from the last 3 years. It's a good idea to look at these resources. So let me help you by summarizing what we have discussed so far. Like in revision, I would say ideally we need 3 cycles. The first cycle will be longer, then shorter, then shorter. First cycle 30 days, then 25, then 20. This should be your idea in your mind, at the back of your mind. Before you start your first cycle, I will always advise that please go through the DAMS SWT papers without reading anything. Please give the test with your residual knowledge. Listen to the video to get an idea on where you are going wrong, and then revise the subject. And that revision would only mean notes, class notes that you've written with your own hand.
Right, as I said, when you go on for subsequent revisions, use your time judiciously and use your resources judiciously. It is a good idea close to exams, go for selective revision. So you have to know what is most important, and what better than your test and discussion or a class test paper, your SWT paper, and your grand test. Right, do an analysis. You always get an analysis on the grand test where you can know what subjects you're doing wrong or you're doing more wrong questions in. Pick up those subtopics, start reading them thoroughly from the notes. As I said, start reading the topics covered in the TND and the SWT papers from the notes first. That's how you begin your revision, to make it more effective, to make it more high yielding, to make it more productive, right?
And do not forget, third revision has to become more faster. But do not forget, again, this revision would mean notes. But towards the end, we all need to know what should we revise on the last day. Last day revision or the last 2-3 days revision should be mainly the things that we teach you in DVT and AIMS capsule that is already there on your eMedicos app. If I was in your place before the central exams, I will utilize AIMS capsule. Before the NEET exam, I will utilize DVT. But nevertheless, both of them are useful for both the kind of exams. Don't think that if you are preparing for NEET, AIMS capsule is not useful. It's not like this. Only thing is that, we have kind of, created a very high yielding resource. And, you can actually look back at any interviews of the May toppers. You will find majority of them, they attributed their success to this course called as AIMS capsule. Do not miss out on that for revision. And DVT is the traditional gold standard material for revision. Please come in the DVT with an empty notebook, a relaxed mind. Let us revise things for you. We will build up the momentum for you. We will build up the momentum, and we will build up the momentum for revision. I'm telling you.
Yes, we once you're done with the DVT, and as Dr. Sumer has already said, it's going to be very high yielding. We're working really hard on it to make it most effective for you, to make it more clinically oriented, to help you understand how to utilize the images with the clinical information provided, right? So it's just not visuals. It's going to be much more than that. It's going to be a mini revision program. And once you're done with that and you're doing your revisions, do not forget the CBT, right? You focus on the target. So your target should be the CBT exam. And meanwhile, keep giving your grand test. It's a good idea to start giving the grand test at an interval of, let's say 15 days, and do them twice a month at least, so that, you get into a habit of giving the exams. And then take CBT like your real exam. Go with the same mind frame. You'll be sitting in the same atmosphere, and you would be, it would be like just simulating the real exam. So, you need to get that confidence. You need to feel in control on the day of the exam. So that nervousness, anxiety, although it can't go away completely, and it shouldn't go away completely, but it shouldn't affect your performance on the D-Day, right? So ensure that you give the CBT.
Yes, and do not forget, there is no practice like match practice. The reason I'm telling you this is because I know many of you are listening today to us, and you have thought that, you will give the CBT once you are perfectly prepared. I am telling you, you have to start giving tests before that. There is nothing like perfection. You will never be perfectly prepared. Do not miss out on the opportunity to give the CBT and learn the way you think on the real exam. I have seen many rankers in the last 2 decades. Every one of them says that give these damn CBT like you give the real exam, so that you can give the real exam as if it's a mock test happening. The seriousness has to be, the seriousness in the CBT has to be more than the real exam, so that you get used to it. Your body, your adrenaline, your adrenals, they get used to it. You don't need to panic on the real exam. You need to panic here so that you get used to it. Sensitize yourself.
And I would like to say that you should consider CBT as an opportunity to know what to focus on henceforth after your main exam. So, take it as an opportunity of learning of what you need to stress more on. You already have some strong areas, you have some weak zones. We need to cater on the weak zones. And what better than a mock exam? It's going to tell you what you need to focus on. So, take it as an opportunity to improve. You have plenty of time to improve, and I'm sure you will, right?
And as Deepti has rightly pointed out, do not be afraid of tests. They are not tests, they are learning opportunities. You are a learner, and you want to keep learning till the main exam, so that you do your best in the main exam. And we are very sure that Damsonians will rock in this exam. I am very sure that you have in it you to do it, and I am sure that one of you will be sitting with a rank 1 here, some of you will be sitting with a single digit rank, double digit rank, and we will be conducting your interview in this very interview. We are sure.
We really look forward to it.
We are really looking forward to hearing your part of the journey after this. I'm sure you all will rock.
Yo.